we had 3 more components we wanted to make, right? One for the sidebar, one for the list of notes, and one for the form where you enter your note. So let's just add those one at a time. In your source directory, make a new file, capital S sidebar.js. Inside sidebar.js, let's import React, capital R, from React lowercase r. I'm going to make this a stateless functional component, so const capital S sidebar equals an arrow function. And before I build out that arrow function, before I forget, I'm going to go down to the bottom and say export default sidebar. Then inside my function, all I need to do is return some JSX. I'm going to put a div with a class of capital S sidebar. And I will just put the word sidebar in there again, just so that I know it worked. We'll build it up more later. And that's all there is to that. So now the list. Going to make another new component inside source, new file, capital, I'm going to call it NoteList. So capital N, note, capital L, list. Capitalize each word, NoteList.js. Import capital R React from lowercase r React. Const capital N, note, capital L, list equals an arrow function. Before I forget, I go to the bottom and export default NoteList. And then inside my component, which is just a function, I return some JSX. I'm going to return a div with a class of NoteList, capitalized just like my component name. And inside there, I will just put the word NoteList so that I can see that it's working. You'll never guess how I'm going to do the form. Let's create a new file called capital N note, capital F form, NoteForm.js. Let's import capital R React from lowercase r React. Const capital N note, capital F form equals an arrow function. Before I forget, go to the bottom, export default NoteForm. Inside the function, return some JSX. I'm going to put a div with a class of NoteForm capitalized the same way. And in there, I'm just going to put NoteForm just so I can see that it works and that all 3 components are indeed there and rendering. So all 3 of these should be exactly 11 lines long. Very, very simple. And then sidebar, NoteList, and NoteForm, I'm going to put inside main. So back in main.js, I'm going to import them. I'll put an empty line under my imports that came from Node modules. And I will import capital S sidebar from the string ./sidebar. I will import NoteList from the string ./NoteList. And I will import NoteForm from the string ./NoteForm. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to add some JSX. So never mind the word main here. Just get rid of that. And inside our div, I'm just going to put a self-closing sidebar tag, a self-closing NoteList tag, and a self-closing NoteForm tag. And that will render all 3 of those elements inside that div. I'll flip back to this, but let's make sure it worked. And I see sidebar, NoteList, NoteForm. So all three of them are rendering, so it worked. Add sidebar, NoteList, and NoteForm components. All stateless functional components.